Thanks for joining the live stream. I feel like we're on a roll here. We're also on a roll with Masterpiece Perceptors because we have Fans Toys Tesla 2.0. So I guess the third MP Perceptor that we've gotten so far. But yeah, let's take a look at packaging. Start that off. Packaging is pretty normal, pretty big for the box. Really nice artwork as usual. Embossing, artwork is fantastic. You can see the three modes, not just the robot and the microscope that we know from G1, but also this kind of tank type mode that sometimes Perceptors had in some other test or something like that, or I don't know. In any case, that's pretty much it. On the bottom, we have the little QR code. They do have video instructions now. If you have not followed them on YouTube, they do have their own YouTube channel with official videos, previews, and everything like that. Just trying to put me out of business. Actually, some of their instructions are not very good, though, so I'm just going to call that out. On the back, we do have some more of the product images. So we have him in robot mode, his various alt modes, him with warpath, and then him lying down with a sniper rifle, and then a good shot of his butt lying down if you're into that. So yeah, out of packaging, you get, or out of box, you get his stack card and bio, and then his instruction manual. His instruction manual was overall pretty good, but as usual, there's always some weird steps that they just completely overlook or just completely wrong. Like, for example, on this part of the instructions at the end to get the microscope, this is not for microscope mode. It's clearly for tank mode, and they repeat it in the tank instructions. So ignore that, and then they've also skipped some other steps. So, and then as, again, they use the PLZ. Please don't, now it's scorch each other. Anyway, English aside, let's go ahead and bring out the styrofoam packaging. Let me take a quick second to shout out everyone. Hey Brandon, hey Just Call Me BB, Cyborg, Wild Bill, Alex. I saw some other folks before. Mike Bot, I don't know if I've seen you before. Memo, who we just had on at our community live stream Saturday this past week. Fraxic, Clinical, Mike Rogers, Winston. Wow, we got a lot of folks here. So a lot of folks. BSAV, I don't think I've seen you before. Maybe we have. Dr. Diecast, Frankly, Paul Spurgeon. Okay, there's a lot. So, 84 of you. There's no way I'm going to be able to get to you all. So let's just hold it there, and I'll try to get to more as we go along. But nice styrofoam packaging that we always get with Fans Toys Masterpiece figures nowadays, embossed with the FT-46. You can see this is how he comes packaged, mostly in robot mode. There are a couple things that we need to take care of, but here he is. First impression when I got him out is he's hefty as usual, but in comparison to X-Transbots, who is also hefty, this one just seems more solid, like he's not moving anywhere. So it was a really great first impression, in-hand impression. His alternate chest piece, if you want the solid piece as opposed to the translucent chest piece. His one gun, his microscope, cannon, whatever you want to call it, his sniper rifle. And then he has a whole lot of... Oh, hey, thanks, Princeton Phalanx. I appreciate the 99 cents. But you have to donate $1.99 for comparisons. So you're short $1 if you want a comparison. For 99 cents, I'll figure out what I can do for you. But yeah, he has a whole bunch of stuff here. Like, honestly, I haven't even taken out all of these heads, and they're all numbered, I guess just to keep them straight. But there are 9 different baggies that he comes with in addition to the heads. So these are all different heads or face replacements. So as you can see here, this one is the toy version. Hey BZev, appreciate it. I love you too. And then there are a whole, I don't know why they went with like a whole bunch of heads. Like, there's just a ton of them. And like, for the most part, they're all the same. So I wonder why they went with some just replacing the face mask, and while others, they're replacing the entire head. I don't really know. But this is clearly something like a last minute addition that I think they did to compete or strike back at X-Transbots. X-Transbots, I believe, has 3 heads. Here are some of them here. 2 extra heads here, the IDW heads, and then 2, 4, 5 faces. So that's 7, 8. So they have 8 different faces / heads. While Tesla 2.0 has, what do we have here? 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 that's already installed. So they one-upped X-Transbots in the number of head options, face options that you get. I don't know that that's really a war that needed to be fought. I don't know that anyone's going to use anywhere close to this many faces, but there you have it. So let's scooch this down just a little bit so you can see a little bit of these, some more. So I'm going to go through them one at a time. All right. Okay, so let's start with the faces just because we have so many and we need to clear them out of the way. So let's look at his stock face first. His stock face is kind of a derpy looking face. He's kind of semi-grinning. I guess I do think a Perceptor has being kind of happy, so I guess that's cool. Let's see some of his other heads here. He's got a super sad one. Like this one looks like he's about to commit suicide or something. Like he's super depressed. Then you have one that's kind of like serious, angry, and then you just have one that's kind of like open mouth, questioning life. I don't know. I don't really love any of these, to be perfectly honest, but I guess of these really kind of stock ones, I guess I'd like this kind of straight-faced one more than the kind of the goofy, happy-faced one. All right, then he has the kind of toy visor face, which looks pretty good. You can see the crest is different, as well as the shape of the helmet. So this one makes sense to have an alternate face. I mean, alternate helmet, but these I think are all the same, as well as the one that's already installed. And then here we have kind of the IDW inspired ones. So you have this, they all have like the eye reticle, or whatever you want to call it, the monocle, scouter, if you're for all you Dragon Ball fans. Hey Mike, the video is probably blurry because I can only do 720p on YouTube live streams through their phone app. So there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. So yeah, this one I never really got the whole kind of goatee look with the IDW Perceptor. I felt like it didn't fit his character, or at least the G1 counterpart. And then he has 2 alternate faces here. Because I always thought of him as kind of a nerdy scientist, not kind of like a hipster nerdy one. You know, like the Jeff Goldblum. Like this kind of reminds me of like Jeff Goldblum in Independence Day, right? Like kind of goofy. He's got like a goatee, facial hair, kind of cool. So yeah, to replace these. Hey Jermaine, how's it going? Tony77, Carl, Mike Rogers. All right, so to replace these, it's pretty easy. You just slide this off for any of the head replacements. So you can put this one on, which is nice. It's nice and convenient. Some head replacements are pretty frustrating. So as far as the IDW ones, it's kind of the same deal. You plug this on. If you want to replace the face, though, you are going to have to use a screwdriver here. So if you want to use the replacement faces, you do have to disassemble the head. You'll have to take out these screws here, these 3, and then you just pop out the face mask. We're not going to go through that. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Although I didn't, to be honest, I didn't check if you can swap these in with the G1 head. So I don't know if you can put this face in here. I should probably check that. Maybe if we have time at the end, if we're just hanging around, I'll go ahead and do that. Let me put on, here, let me put on his straight face. All right, so otherwise, his other option that he has, actually, he looks kind of naked without this. So let's go ahead and put on his microscope. His microscope just slides on from the side here on this piece, like so. All right, and the chest piece is also very easy. You kind of want to get this out of the way very much like the X-Transbots one. You got to kind of get that out of the way. Open this up, and then you can push out on these tabs here. 1, 2, 3, 4 at each of the corners, and then you can get this translucent piece out. I actually prefer the translucent piece, so I'm going to keep it in. Well, actually, here, I should take it out just so you guys can see what it looks like at least, even though there are plenty of images out there showing what it looks like. But yeah, you just pull this out like so. Am I still on camera? I'm standing up, so I can't even tell. And then flip this in. So I think this looks a little plain. So I don't like this as much, but if you do like the translucent, you can do that. All right. 148 people. Jeez, that's a whole lot of people. All right, so let's actually make it worth their time. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick 360 of him. Oh, actually, no, that's a lie. I want to first transform him so that he's in full robot mode. So there are a couple things that he came in out of box that are a little bit different. So first things first, if you open up his legs, you'll see that they have the treads here. I don't know why they did this. You just literally untab it, flip around, and tab it back in. I don't see how this would have saved any space or reduced any potential breakages. But you do that on both the legs. Secondly, coming to the heel, you can see that the wheels are kind of exposed. What you need to do is just flip this piece, which is also die cast. There's a lot of die cast in this guy, on both of these heels to get it looking more like a foot and to hide the wheels. Let me see. Was that it? Oh, and then another optional piece is kind of this gap here is G1 accurate, except there's supposed to be a red piece here. So this piece that we lifted up, if you go underneath here, there's a little notch or tab that you can push to bring out this little red piece, and then you just collapse it back down, and it fills in the gap to be G1 accurate. But the problem is, once you have that, you can't make use of his waist articulation. So they gave you the option that you can hide it. I prefer it hidden for obvious reasons, for posability, and then you might not damage, so you don't damage your figure potentially. But that's how you do it. All right, so now we'll do a quick 360 before we move on. So he looks really great. And like I said, I think I've been trying to do more bottom line up fronts. So if I had to summarize this guy in 3 words, I'd say solid. What was I was going to say? Oh, pricey. He comes in at like $230 US at most US retailers, which is a lot. Soundwave and their Frenzy, I think it was $260, so $30 less than that, but you got a whole Frenzy, which probably you would say that's probably worth $30 ish. But even then, I thought Acoustic Wave was really expensive. But he is super hefty. He does feel super solid. I think people who want a Fan Stories figure will be happy with it, just not happy with the price. Some questions already. TM Reviews, being the awesome mod that he is, says, question 1, is he functional microscope? No, he's not a functional microscope in the sense that when you look through here, you can see light, but it's very obfuscated. But it looks like it is kind of like Tesla 1.0, where it is accurate, where if the image is upside down, you just can't see it clearly. It's very, very, very blurry. I did check that. Do you place faction logos on my figures? I do. I'm usually just really lazy, though. 3, can he transform with the IDW head? Yeah, he should be able to transform with the IDW head as well. He's not like Jansen, or Janssen. Apparently, that's how you pronounce the X-Transbots figure's name. Oh, sorry, I don't think we finished the 360. But yeah, he's very clean. Like, he has like no hollowness. He just looks really solid. All the paint is obviously fantastic. Stellar paintwork from Fans Toys. The only problem, as you'll see here, is due to some of the transformation, it's very easy to scuff up the paint on the legs. So you got to be careful. I'll point it out, but I don't know that there's an easy way to not get him scuffed up. So just be careful. All right. So quick comparisons. The ones I think that people want the most. And again, if I've been doing this thing where if you have a custom request for a comparison between 2 figures, you can donate, or I I guess, I don't even know it's called donating, but you can send $1.99 and I'll try to get a figure from my display that you can compare them to at your request. So this is how they look. The paint obviously is very different. They're both nice paint. Fans Toys is a little bit nicer, but you can see that it's a darker red, but very similar. So we're going to see a lot of similarities between him and Jensen, even in terms of transformation and overall design. Both, I think, look really great. There's a couple things that they do kind of opposite of each other. One is, I thought it looked kind of weird that Jensen's microscope was so far back. It like stuck out backwards. G1 is more sticking out forward, but I think it does stick out a little bit too far. Some of the transformation is very, very similar, and we'll see that, which kind of makes sense, some parts of it, but other parts of it, I'm like, this is more similar than I would expect. Like the abdomen part, which rocks up in a very similar fashion on both. And we'll go through some of the other details. But yeah, overall, very, very nice. I think you could be happy with both. And I think, as I've been saying in the past, X-Transbots is improving some of their materials and so forth. And the pricing is much more reasonable, I think. I think this was like 100, I want to say 150-ish or something like that. And he came with all the minifigures, all the accessories. He had like this spring-loaded gun and everything like that. A lot of minifigs, a lot of weaponry and stuff like that. So I think overall, as a package, it clearly is a better value in terms of how much you get. But as far as better figure, he just feels way more rock solid, I would say. Even some of the things that they do with the legs is very similar. And you can see one of the complaints that we had with Jensen is that they have this thigh cut. You do have this here as well, and it does sometimes spread apart, but not nearly as easily as this one. The one thing I will say is I like the metallic blue on the thighs more than this kind of matte, dull grayish blue that we get with Tesla 2.0. But the face sculpts, I think overall I prefer the Tesla 2.0. All right, other comparisons. I do a lot of comparisons, I think, or a lot of reasonable ones. Here he is with another recent release from Fans Toys. Their Rig or Huffer. All right, and then who else do we have? MP44, just makes sense to always display him with MP44. So you have an idea of how he scales with the boss bot. And then I didn't feel like getting Coot out. I think he's a little bit far back, so I went ahead and brought out my X-Transbots cup, which I always forget X-Transbots, the third-party names. But yeah, these are the only comparison I'm going to do for now. If you have any other requests, let me know. And I'll try to get to them at the end once we get back into robot mode. So let me move these guys out the way. And then we'll start getting into the review proper right after we talk about the accessories. I'm not going to do a deep dive into the comparisons with Jensen. I'm sure TM Reviews, he usually does really great head-to-head comparisons, and I think Bobby usually does as well, Bobby Skullface. So you can see them. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but you can see some of the weaponry. It's pretty similar, different size. This one, obviously, again, is spring-loaded from X-Transbots, and then this sniper rifle-y thing is a bit different. This is the one we get with Tesla. And then this one actually extends, so you can bring this down, this bipod or whatever it's called, and then you can actually extend the barrel. I think it looks a little weird, this fully extended, but yeah, you can extend it as much as you want. All right, you know, if length matters to you. All right, I'll try to cut down on some of the innuendo. And as you would expect, they tab in to the hand with the traditional MP style palm slot. And these work very, very well. They're very solid. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and get into transformation now that we have him basically all accessoried out. More questions? Man, TM Review working hard. Can you transform? Oh, wait, I already saw these. Yeah, transform. Oh, can you? All right. So people are asking to transform with the IDW head. Sure. Okay, that should work. I don't think there's much of a difference. Yeah, see, so it should work. The other question is, are you doing a comparison with 1.0? No, I don't have 1.0. I sold him literally years ago. How much does he weigh? And is that dark on camera? Yes, he is that dark on camera, as you saw. Oh, I did do a weight comparison already on off screen, but I'll do it with you guys. I was going to do that, so thanks for the reminder. They're very, very close. So Jansen is just slightly heavier. So he was 1 pound 4.6 ounces, or 584 grams, and Tesla is just slightly, like half an ounce lighter. So 572 grams, or 1 pound 4.2 ounces. So like 0.4 ounces difference. So very, very close in terms of overall weight. All right. Now we'll get into the transformation. You can do the transformation with the head on and the microscope on. I might take off the microscope just to kind of show you how to move things around. But yeah, you can do the transformation. So the instructions kind of show you going into tank first, and then into a separate one going from robot to microscope. I think it makes the most sense just logically. I think most people want to see him going into the microscope, and it is actually a bit easier to go into microscope from his default mode here. So we're going to do that. We're going to go into microscope, then go into the tank, and then from tank back to microscope, and finish back off in robot mode. All right. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is let's go to the hands. We're going to flip the hands 180 degrees. Open this up. Oh, this panel underneath. So you do have to flip the hands around. That's what gives you the clearance. And then tuck them in. Oh, the finger came out. Hold on. Come on. This joint is really tight. So if yours is as tight as mine, I've already loosened mine with my screwdriver here. But if yours is tight, especially trying to get it out, just loosen that like not even a quarter of a turn, an eighth of a turn or something like that. We're going to go ahead and collapse his hands like so. We're going to bring these shoulders. Oh, I didn't do articulation. All right, so hold on. Before we get into transformation, we got to do articulation. There's just an order to things, and I can't believe I forgot to do articulation. Sorry about that. All right. So articulation-wise, let's start with his head. His head is on a hinge that can go a little bit up, a little bit down, and then rotate 360. His shoulders are on a friction joint that go all the way around. They also come out. Just be careful here. This shoulder piece flips around, but if you push this up too much, you can see that it actually comes undone. But you can move it out of the way to get more articulation. If you move it out to the transformed state, you can move it all the way out to the side. It's kind of a weird design, to be perfectly honest. He does have a bicep swivel that goes all the way around. He has a single jointed elbow that goes this far. Wrist swivel. And then he's back to kind of Fans Toy standard hands in terms of a ball joint at the base, one pin joint at the thumb, and then let's see, each finger is individually pinned or molded, and they have 1-2 joints of articulation each. Before I guess we go down too far, you can see that the microscope is kind of on a hinge here. It's going to go up and down. And then that's pretty much it. You can extend it on the second hinge up here if you want. It's not really meant for robot mode with articulation. It breaks up kind of the look. It doesn't have any rotational pivot, but it does have the extending barrel here for the cannon. All right. Coming towards the waist, with that red piece up, he can rotate on a ratcheted joint there. You can hear that. And then he also has the ab crunch. Just be careful when you're using the ab crunch. Again, you can only get a little bit before it starts interfering here. So you can, but if you move this out of the way, you can get basically almost 90 degrees. But then you get kind of a weird look here. His abs come up in front of his chest, but whatever. I can live with that, to be perfectly frank. It's a better compromise than some of their other figures, we'll just say, when it comes to articulation at the waist. His hip skirts, he has a bunch of them. He has 2 up front, 2 on the side, 1 big butt flap in the back that's hiding his butt wheel. He has ratcheted joints that go forward and back. Be very careful. Again, this is where you might be able to run in and scrape some of your paint here. He has a friction joint going outward. Very, very, very solid, going all directions on the legs. Honestly, probably a little too tight on some of these. He does have a thigh swivel. And then he actually has a rotation. Well, no, we'll talk about that later. Coming down to the knee, he has an upper knee, which is ratcheted, and then a lower knee that's friction. So he can get pretty deep in there. I'm sure some people are saying that's what she says to a lot of comments that I'm saying. What else do we have here? Coming to the foot, he has an ankle tilt. It's actually tabbed into his calf, but you can undo that. And it's very solid. It's not loose at all, even untabbed. And then he can point his toe down. And then heel, as we said, can kind of move around a bit. It's not really designed to do that for stability. But for transformation, he has this weird thing, this weird joint, which you can undo to get some additional articulation. But it's not really meant for that. But you can make use of it. So there we go. That is articulation. I don't think I skipped anything other than transform like a guitar's pec deck articulation. So sorry about that. Let's go back to transformation now. So like I said, we'll open up this panel, rotate the fist 180 degrees, and rotate that in. Just remember to get his fingers all scrunched up, like so. Make sure the bicep is straight in order to collapse it. And as I said before, we're going to need to flip this open, this black panel. Ow, that hurt. We can just open it up like that for now. Same thing on the other side. Like so. Collapse that up. We can just lift his hands up like so. All right, same thing kind of like with Jensen. We're going to lift this ab section up on this double hinge. And if you had that crotch piece, remember to fold it in. Once you have that up here, we're going to open his chest like so. And from here, again, this part is very, very similar to how Jensen works. So we're going to untab the arms from the main body. The right side is always a little bit tighter. So you open this up, but just like with Jensen, there's actually 2 different sections. There's like the outer section, front and back, and then there's a arm section. And with both, you have to kind of collapse them or transform them so that they get in a little bit tighter. So with this piece here, you want to flip this out and tab this into this section here. And then the arms are kind of on a little section here that is on kind of like a rail section. It's hard to describe, but you can see this tab goes into this little slot here. But, oh, I do need to make sure that this is out. I forgot on this side. So once you have this done, what you want to do is push up on this to collapse it in. It kind of comes in like so. So again, very similar to Jensen. Then we're going to deal with the head. It's easiest just to deal with the head by rotating it back like so. And then we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. While we're doing that, there's a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to pull out this flap. And then we're going to rotate this blue piece. So this telescope, this multi-jointed piece was going to come straight down. But it's a little bit harder to do with the microscope on, just because it's hard to get any leverage, because that's how it slides out. So just to show you, it's a bit easier just to grab this piece and then rock it out, straighten it out like so, and then you can slide this back on. Again, you can transform it with it on. It's just much easier to get leverage. So let's rotate this all the way like this, and then we're going to put the head all the way in. Now, with these arm pieces, there's double hinges here. So we used the bottom hinge when we first opened it. Now we're going to use the outer hinge, so it collapses, closes in a little bit wider, so there's some gap for the head. So you do that on both sides. There's a tab on one side here that goes into this platform, and one on here. So you want to do that. When you're opening up the microscope section, this is also on double hinges. You want to make sure you pull this out to get that extra extension here. Once you do that, you can close up this piece. In the instructions, they only show you to close up, I think, on the tank mode, only this section, not this section. That's incorrect. You definitely want to close out both sections. So now you can see what we kind of look like, the upper body in microscope mode. And then we're going to flip these pieces down. There's some tabs here, like so. All right, now we're going to deal with the legs. The legs are a little complex for microscope mode. So I want to show you a couple of things. So I'm lifting this hip skirt up just so you can see something. I want to make sure that you keep your legs kind of positioned in a certain way, so that, because you can rotate both at the thigh here as well as this leg joint. So if you're not careful, you can get these at like really weird angles like this, where it's like, 45 degree or something like that. It's ideal to try to keep everything kind of at 90 degrees. So you want to kind of get it like this. So see how this is still straight 90 degrees, and then you rotate it just at the thigh joint 90 degrees. All right, so you kind of want to get it like this. That's the only reason I lifted this up, just to show you what that looks like. And now we're going to deal with the legs. So we can deal with the feet first. We're going to rotate the heel all the way around the way it was when we first got it out of box. Point the toe down, and then we're going to flip this piece, just the tip. Now, every time I say something, I'm thinking that's what she said. Tab this in this way. Open up this inner leg panel, tab that in here. And then come to the other side, we're going to untab this section. And this only opens up like so. Now, to transform the leg, it's very much like Jansen in that you have to separate at the thigh. What we have to do here is come undone. It's on kind of this weird double hinge system. And for microscope mode, there are two sets of tabs here, so don't get confused. For microscope mode, there's a slot here, and there's two tabs. There's a longer one. That goes in here for tank mode. This one in here goes in here for microscope mode. And the way they tell you to do it is to basically just push this in. And for me, it kind of works on one side like this. On the other side, it doesn't. So if you're having problems getting this tabbed in correctly, again, let me see if I can show you. Getting this one into this slot, and then this one in behind the knee. An easier way, and maybe a safer way to avoid any scrapage, is to bend at that knee joint that's ratcheted, tab in the smaller tab, and then once you have that done, you can just straighten out the leg, and that will get the larger tab secured. So it's hard to describe, but basically just bring the knee up, and then it will lock into place in very much the same way. So now you have that locked in. So once you have that done, this is where the paint scrapage can happen, is make sure that you have enough clearance here, because what you're doing is you're taking the leg and then you're pushing through here, and then it has to come through on this side, but there is very little clearance, and there's some pieces that stick out a little bit. So make sure that this is opened, this tread piece, and then you want to make sure that this is straight so it very barely clears going into the leg. And you can see I'm already running into some stuff and forcing it a little bit. So went ahead and pushed that in. Once you have that done, you can close up the leg panel here. This little tab that was locking the leg in, we close that up like that. And then the tread piece we close up. And that's it for microscope mode. So we just have to do the same for the other side. I'm going to go a little bit quicker this time, but again, be careful here. So let's deal with the foot first. Heel turns out, toe comes down, open the panel on the outside. If you can manage it. Open this tread and tab it in, like so. Open it up one more time. Open up the other leg panel and folds in on itself. Getting the leg up and then rotate around like that so you still see the flat part here. And now we're going to start transforming the leg by unlocking this tab. Opening it up, it's going to start going towards the back, opposite of what you were thinking, right? But again, remember we're rotating at this joint here later. So again, showing off how it's supposed to work. This larger tab goes in between, kind of where the silver die cast piece is, not into this rectangular slot. So again, the instructions just say go ahead and kind of force it in like this. On mine, this side, it doesn't want to do that. That's why I figured out that if you bend at the knee here and then rotate this up, it locks into place perfectly. Now we can close up. Oh no, sorry. Now we can rotate the leg around. Once again, being very mindful. So see, I was not careful. I probably scraped some more paint off of the leg. Close that around. So I think, you know, obviously the first time you're doing it, you're not really sure exactly what you're doing. That's when you can make mistakes and scrape your paint. Don't be like me. Follow the instructions that I'm giving you so that you can be wary of those sections here. And then you bring this down and you're in microscope mode. And it looks really great. And it's way more solid than the mechanisms that quote unquote tabbed in like this for Jensen. And it's way more secure overall. It is still kind of a little bit back heavy, but if you're a little bit concerned about that, you can also pull out the wheels, this rear wheel, which you don't really need. But if you want, you can do that. This looks really nice. Obviously, you can bring this down. There's a couple of points of articulation that you can use to get closer. Use the rotational handle here to get closer. Or keep it up high. Really, whichever way you want. Obviously, I can't transform Jensen to show you a direct comparison, but this is way more solid. In all three modes, actually, it just feels way more solid than Jensen. Way more secure, way more thoughtful in how things tab and so forth. I guess accessory-wise, so he has these like kind of tabs here that correspond to his. These are really for tank mode, but if you wanted to make him, maybe this is his base mode, he can be weaponed up. I wonder if you can throw these on the legs. Oh no, they don't fit. But yeah, that's really for tank mode. I don't have a scientific instrument that I would compare to alt mode, but you know, here's Streak, just so you have it. Comparing to something or someone, you can see what he looks like next to Rig, I guess. All right, so there's not much else to really talk about with this mode. There's really no accessories that function here, so we're just going to move on. It does look great though, and again, it feels very solid. This mechanism here feels a lot better than like the multi-segmented piece that were on the really thin pieces that we saw with Jensen. Cameron says perfect microscope to car scaling. Thanks for the laugh. Can you see through the viewfinder to magnify? No, it's not like the original Tesla. So I talked about this at the beginning. Somebody asked that question. So you can see light through it, and you can kind of see something, and it is flipped like this type of microscope is supposed to be. So the image is kind of upside down, but you can't really see anything through it. Like I can't show you, but even if you look through it with a bare eye, you really can't see anything. Does Perceptor have detachable legs, or is that a Jansen only feature? Pure Rage RS, that's kind of harsh. All right, so let's go ahead and get him in the tank. It's not too far from here, but there are a couple things that we need to do. Again, very similar to what we got with Jansen. So basically with Jansen, all we did was pull the arms out and then extend them and then rotate them and then collapse them. You're doing the same thing here. This time we don't have the tabs, so they just kind of like sit, but it secures just fine. You don't really need it. So you just undo the tabs at the blue parts of the arm, rotate them, and yeah, so that's basically, and rotate the cannon however you want. It's kind of supposed to be like this, so it's perpendicular or parallel, but you can really do whatever you want there. The wheel you can get out now if you didn't have it out already. And now really the only other thing we need to do is deal with the lower body. So the lower body we had to transform kind of back to where we were before. So there is a little bit of backtracking. Let's move these tabs out of the way. Move these out of the way. Open up. Well, we'll work one at a time. Open this up. And then let's see here. So we're going to rotate this around like so. We're going to collapse this back. The treads, we're finally going to make use of them and rotate them around. Tab this in. We're going to untab at the thigh and close up both those panels. And now this time we are going to make use of this larger tab and then this slot here. So they're going to go like this time. Okay, but we have to rotate them up. So I just want to show you that that's how it works, but we do have to rotate them up. So give me a second for that. All right, so I want to get them down like this. So you want to have the thigh rotated to face the correct way as in robot mode, and then tab this in. And we're going to bring these in. There's a couple of tabs here, one here and one here. So this will go into the shoulder piece, and then this one will go here. But there's one piece of transformation that I want to talk to first that they don't show in either the video or the instruction manual, at least that I didn't pick up on it. But we'll show that in a bit. So open this up, open this section. Once again, we're going to rotate this around, being mindful of the clearances. Once we're back through, untab that. Get these panels all closed up like we're going back to robot mode. The only difference being that these treads are going to extend, rotate around on that mushroom peg, and tab in so you have the wheel showing for tank mode. All right, and then as I said before, we need to get the thighs rotated the correct way. So I kind of bring it down a little bit, and then I rotate it like so, and then get it back up. So he's kind of doing a split. All right, so here's the important thing that they don't show you in the instructions. He actually has a telescoping joint on his crotch that you need to shift down. So here's the front of the crotch. You need to shift that backwards, okay? So towards his butt. And what that does is that is what allows you to align these tabs correctly. If you don't do that, these tabs will not align correctly with the tabs on the sides of the body. So be mindful of that. Okay, so again, I locked this in just for security while I was transforming, but now you want to untab it like we did before and get these tabbed into the side. like so. Same thing on this side. There's a tab here. Again, we're making use of the larger, longer one, not the inner one that we use for microscope mode. And then these will all tab in. And now we just have to do some cleanup. This just basically sits back and then arrange the... Oh, sorry, there's one other thing. The one other thing that they want you to do is bring these heel pieces out. So let me move the toes out of the way. There's one piece here that is tabbed in. So kind of untab it here. And then this little round section, you need to kind of pull out on the foot, on the outside of this foot to release that. This is on a series of like 3 hinges. Essentially what you're going to do is get this first section tucked into the toe. So as you can see here, this goes into the toe. This calf, rear calf, opens up and shows another tab. That's where this tab that was going into the other side of that piece goes. So you tab that in like this. And then you get this heel piece rotated forward. So you kind of have like this double toe looking thing here. So same thing on this other side. Like I said, release the tab. Release this kind of notch. So pull this outwards, pull this forward. This double hinge first section is going to go into the toe. So you want to rotate it like that. So it's 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Bring out this section here and tab that in like so. And that exposes the wheels. So these do rotate, these rotate, and then along with the butt wheel, then you have working wheels for tank mode. And there we go. And again, very solid, very flat. Obviously, it looks kind of goofy. You can see it's basically legs and arms and body. But it is what it is. For a bonus third mode, I don't mind it. And it feels way less fragile than how they did it with Tesla 1.0. Oh, man. TM Reviews sending more questions. Question number 1, do you keep your QC sticker on or take them off? I usually keep them on just for review, and then I take them off later. But I like keeping them on just to always kind of poke fun at it. But no, I have no desire to keep them on. Are you bleeding? No, I'm not bleeding just yet, but there are some pieces that a spudger could help. Is that leg hinge die cast? So if you're talking about this, it is die cast, very silvery die cast. And a lot of the leg, like this whole section here, is die cast. His toe is die cast. The heel is die cast. I think parts of the thigh are die cast. Parts of the let me see, what parts of the chest are? Oh, the back. This section. I think these outer sections of the chest that the arms collapse into are die cast. So he has a lot of die cast. He's not short. Niall says Janssen tank mode greater than Tesla tank mode. I think it's more dynamic looking because it has like kind of like that angle, but it holds together way worse. Like this is super solid. But how many people are loving for this? I think he meant the locking tab. If you meant this tab in here, yeah, this is die cast and this is die cast, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure both of these are die cast. Pure Rage RS. Yeah, I've already talked about paint chipping on the thighs. I showed that off. There's some here as well as up here. It's kind of hidden because it's on the top part. Yeah. So I talked about that when I was transforming. Studio Series Soundwave alt mode equals Tesla 2.0 tank mode. The paint's really nice, but like I said, a lot of it could be user error just from, the first time you go through, you don't really know how things go. But having watched this video, you should be very mindful of when you're rotating this thigh into this red lower leg section to be very mindful of that, right? So learn from my mistakes. T-Man literally said in our chat when I told him that I scratched my thighs, he said the only good thing about you getting Fans Toy stuff first is we get warnings about what not to do. So T-Man was giving me a hard time. All right. What did David Lynch say? He said realist things said in the chat today. What was it? X Transbots is the fans' toys as GoBot are to Transformers. That's harsh. Any GoBot fans, I apologize. The views of the chat are not always representative of the views of this channel. In this case, I 100% agree with David. So, yeah. G-Tony is against that, but what does he know? Oh, sorry. So like I said before, there are options here for display with the accessories. On the back, he does has these 2 tabs. I guess this could have been storage for robot mode weapons too. So I'll show that off once we get back into robot, because it is on his back. I guess oh, is this on his chest? That might be on his chest. This is his back, right? Oh no, I'm lying. That's on his chest. But yeah, you can do this. Oh, one other thing I didn't show is that I don't know if this is by design, but you can actually remove this. I feel like it's by design because it's so long. But yeah, so here is his tank mode. Here he is again. A second outing for Streak. He usually only gets to come out once a review. But here we are. You can extend this microscope again, but it obviously goes towards the back, so I don't know why you would do that. But there you go. Clinical says, "Can you pause and twiddle your thumbs for about 90 seconds?" I've been BSing for a lot, so. All right. Oh, T-Man left. All right, time to wrap up. No, we're not wrapping up. We got to go all the way back into robot mode. You guys know how I do. I always do transformations both ways when I do my full reviews, not previews. So thanks. It sounds like TM is going to bounce out. Thanks, TM, for always being great behind and actually capturing questions. I couldn't do it without you, so thanks so much. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into microscope mode very quickly and then go back into bot mode. So we'll go ahead and release the tabs on the side here. Again, while I'm mid-transformation, I'd like to just lock these in place so they're not flopping around because I don't want the paint to get scratched up any more than it is. So just go ahead and do that. We'll get the feet transformed first. So let's get this section untabbed. This will close back up for microscope and robot mode. And then the toe, this or the heel, these 3 sections, this will pop out and it will come up like this. So now it's kind of like a U shape. And this will rotate down and tab into that slot. Like so. And then that circular piece will go back into this piece here. All right, I'm trying to remember. For microscope mode, I think this is hidden in microscope mode. No, in microscope mode, it's supposed to be like this. All right, and then for the legs, we're going to transform it back. So we got to open this up, rotate it on that mushroom joint, tab it back, fold it back on itself, and tab that in to secure it. Open up the other section, fold it on itself. Open the thigh, oh no, the shin, and then we're going to bring this down. Once again, we have to bring this down and rotate. Rotate like this. Rotate like this. So now the thigh is the front of the thigh is facing up. Once we have this all straightened out, we're going to. Oh, sorry. Untab this first, and then we're going to go ahead and tab in the thighs. The short stem is going to go into this big cavity first, and like I said, my little trick is to bend it like this. That way you can see what's going on. That tabs in, and then straighten out the knee, and that will lock in that second tab. All right, where was I? Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and rotate the shin all the way around Once again, being mindful of the clearances here. Once you're through, close that up. Close up the treads. Point the toe, and you're done with that side. Same thing on this side. We're going to get the thigh down and then rotate it outwards 90 degrees so it's pointing up. Let's get these pieces transformed and out of the way, like so, and like so. Let's get this toe / heel section, close that up. I'm gonna fold this down on itself, and that tab will go in. There we go. Open up this section. Open up this tab on the back of the thigh. Extend. Again, I'm going to go with the knee bending method, where we go in like this. And then straighten out the knee. Come on, there we go. All right, now we can go ahead and rotate the thigh, the shin again, all the way through. So I'm trying to be a little bit more careful as to not scrape any more of my paint. Like that. Close this up. And then don't forget that this was on a slider, right? So now we have to slide this forward. So now the crotch, the whole lower body, the waist slid forward. Again, the wheels, you can have it out or you can have it tucked in. Doesn't really matter either way. You're not going to see it. This is basically Microscope as is. But once again, the minor difference up here is that the hands, so that you get the handles or controls, whatever you want to call them, you kind of just want to get it out. Extend at the bicep, rotate 180, collapse it down. And now with these blue tabs, tab that back into the center section. You will get some paint flakage. Like I have red flakes all over my area before I had to clean it up. So once again, untab here, pull it out here, rotate 180 degrees, collapse it, and then tab it in. What's going on? This should be tabbing in very simply. There we go. I don't know why I was struggling. There we are in Microscope mode. Very quick pit stop. And then we're going to go into robot mode. I like dealing with the legs first just because I don't want them flopping around later. So go ahead and open up these side sections once again. We're going to rotate the thigh and shin, whatever you want to call it, mechanism out. Close up these panels like so. Untab the thigh and then lock it into place. And once you're done transforming, get this rotated downwards. Be careful with these corners, edges here. Again, that's where I got some of my paint scrapage as well. Just be mindful again when you're going up, and then this back section as well. And then the toe, we just flip that out. The heel, we flip around like we did at the very beginning out of box. Same thing on the other side. Open this up, open that up. Rotate this through. Untab this big chunky tab here. Close up the thigh. Close up the leg panels on both sides. Get the toe facing up. Rotate the heel so it hides the wheels. And then, once again, being mindful of the thigh orientation. Get the hips and thighs correct. fold up the wheels into his butt, and now we can fold in all of the hip skirts because we're done with those. All right, now moving up to the upper body. This is where it gets easy. I find that it's a bit easier if you have a spudger. So you can do this in both orders. These two panels kind of tab in the sides, so you can kind of finagle these and like pull these out. But I think it's actually safer if you undo this tab first. So I like opening this up. That frees up a couple of these tabs to make it a little bit easier, a little bit safer to get the arms out. So like those go like this, like so. The head you can rotate out like that, and then again we're gonna rotate the shoulder canyon mechanism all the way around to his left side of the head, like that. This panel will fold flat, and this part will fold underneath, like so. The arms, you have to bring them out. So again, they're on this kind of weird mechanism. You want to get these little nubs tucked into this kind of recess as far in as possible. On this one side, the right side, you need to tuck in this little slot piece. That does not exist on this side. So again, just put that in. And remember how last time we used the outer hinge here to come up? We're going to use the inner hinge now to get it collapsed a little bit tighter. One thing to note, you have to rotate this extra hinge for the chest piece. You have to rotate this in before you close up the chest. If you do not, you're not going to be able to rotate it in later. So see, I'm not going to be able to push that in once I collapse. So right here, see, now I can't close up the chest. So you have to open this up. I don't know why the right side is always such a struggle. And then so get this red section of the mechanism tucked in first. Then we close this up. Then we can close up the chest and bring down the ab piece. Again, at this point, if you want the crotch red piece, you can flip that out. I don't like it, so for safety reasons, I don't want that. Rotate the arms down. Extend them. Get out the fists. And once again, mine was like really impossible to get these fists out the first time around. If that's the case, just unscrew this one screw on the inside of the forearm. It will loosen up just enough for you to be able to rotate that out without making your hands bleed. Once you get the fists out, rotate them 180 degrees. And last but not least, just get these weird shoulder pieces up and around, pushed in and sitting flat. And then the shoulder cannon, we just rock it all the way back so that this red piece almost looks like it's sitting flat against the main body. And then we have the really weird IDW screaming face. But with that, we have Tesla 2.0 in robot mode once again. So I already did a bottom line up front at the beginning of this review. My opinions still hold true. He's very solid. He feels great. I feel like this is the first, well, not first, but one of the more recent figures that when I picked it out right out of the box, it left a really, really strong first impression. Like everything felt like it was solid, that it was not moving. It felt really good in addition to the heft. I'm not really about heft just for the sake of heft, but this one feels rock solid, not just heavy. Second thing is, I do think overall it's a much better figure than Janssen. If you're talking about just pure figure, how it does and everything like that, once you throw in pricing, that's where it gets to be a bit of a more of a mixed bag. At $230-ish, it's like 50% more than Janssen. Is that 50% better figure and value overall? I think that's a little bit harder to debate. That will be left up to you and your collecting habits and what you value and so forth. For me, he's a winner, even if I have to cringe a little bit at the price tag. But I think a lot of people will be happy with Jansen as well. But having him right next to him, especially in such close proximity of doing the reviews, only like 2 weeks apart, it makes it way easier to do kind of a direct comparison between the two. And for me, Tesla 2.0 definitely wins. And from my memory of Tesla 1.0, I mean, it's obviously a superior upgrade in terms of transformation, overall looks, paint. Like this one's fully painted essentially. I think the Tesla 1.0 was not mostly painted, and there's a lot of breakages and so forth. In terms of transformation, this guy is way more rock solid. And so forth. Posability, they're both about on par in terms of posability, so I don't think there's a real winner there. But all right, so we've come to the end of the review. I felt like I said something earlier that I was going to show off once we got back into robot mode, and I completely forgot. What is it? Toy Jojo says it's not me. I'm too cheap to pay fake. Yeah, that's definitely. Oh, Transpan said he only paid 185. At 185, it's a no-brainer compared to Jansen. K Ronan thinks it's a contender for figure of the year, which is saying a lot since it's literally the last day of January. Someone is paying Pake, don't believe in? Paying me for what? Deluxe Baldwin said, man, X-Transbot, damn it. Hey, Black Dragon. What did Paul say? Paul Spurgeon apparently said something to make Toy Dojo laugh, and Toy Dojo has no sense of humor, so if he laughed, it must be something. Oh, Paul Spurgeon says, FT Tesla shooting Jansen in the face. All right, well, he paid for it, so he's getting it. All right, so let's bring him out. I kind of want to make Tesla use... I want to see if Tesla can use Jansen's gun with the projectile. Spring-loaded projectile. That'd be awesome if he can hold it. Can he hold it? Oh, the tab is just slightly... Well, hold on. Maybe the thumb is getting in the way. Now it's just pick playtime. Okay, well, he can't really hold it. But this is much more fun than actually doing the Tesla one, because Tesla doesn't have this. Pew! Oh. I do like the accessories for Jansen, though. Don't get me wrong. The minifigures are awesome. I love them. I mean, they're minifigures, so I don't know exactly when I'll get more of them or what I'll do with them. I currently have them displayed with my Arc, my Hasbro Arc, but yeah, the minifigures are my favorite part of Jansen, for sure. All right, what else we got here? All right, so we don't have any other requests. Any other questions? Did I miss any? And with TM out of the way, now, let's see, I don't have anybody curating the questions I have. Do you guys want to see some other stuff too? Here, let's put it, since I know there are some toy lovers out there, so let's get the toy head on, if I can manage it. What's going on? The heads are usually very easy to pull off. I don't know what's going on with this one. All right. And then the reveal. Oh, T-Man, what did you... Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. You know I would never ignore you. Hey, Shadowbird, thanks for the comment. Depop says, don't know what to do with the minifigs. Might I suggest scaring small children? My children would not be scared over those. FT paints their figures to reinforce their cheap plastic. Fact? Ooh, that's a hot take, Raymed. G-Tony and Michael Rogers need to join Peg Hates FT channel on his Discord. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, I do have a new Discord server that I set up earlier this year, really for the purpose of organizing the community chatter days predominantly, but now it's just a a place where we can hang out. There is a link in the description below. It will be in all my videos from now on. So once you get in there, if you want to actually participate in the chat today, let me know, DM me, or just tag me once you get in and say you're interested, and I can throw you into the private channel. That's where we go ahead and get organized, think of topics, figure out which guests will come for which days and everything like that. So yeah, if you're very interested in that, I'm very much hopeful that we can keep this going all year long. We already have like 10 different topics and a bunch of volunteers. I'd love to have more volunteers come in. Butterfly joints. He doesn't have a butterfly joint. Sorry. Nothing like that. Because of the way he transforms, there's no butterfly joint. Super Sports says X-Transbot is the clear winner here. Ooh, I feel like that's a hot take. Yeah, Dare 2727. So yeah, if you have Discord or don't join, I would love to see that. Kevin Martin. I don't know if I've seen Kevin in here before. Yeah, it's not double jointed elbows, just single joint, but he gets a decent amount of range on it, so I don't mind it that much. Niles was one of the first members, along with Mike Rogers, who commented right after them. Both of them were on the very first episode of Chatterday. We had a bunch on last week. We had like 5 guests plus me, so it was 6. It was kind of hectic to be great. Guns on the back. Yeah, I was saying that, but then I realized that I was talking about the chest. It's actually these pieces on the... Oops, I should have opened that up first. These holes on the chest, so unfortunately you can't do that. T-Man said something with sarcasm. X-Transbots is the best ever. Sarcasm. Weapon storage. Yeah, there's no real weapon storage that I can figure out in robot mode, unfortunately. You know, now that I'm seeing this, the solid chest, I kind of dig it. I know I know that's very contrary, exactly opposite of what I said before, but I kind of like it. I want to open this up and maybe let me put this one out and see if I change my mind. Sorry, I'm just going on a detour here. Come on. So those of you who came in late and didn't get to see the translucent chest, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I feel like this does break up the look a little bit better, and then you can put the insignia in there. Yeah, that's what Armoire just said. Is it iBot chatting in disguise? Who's iBot chatting in disguise? It's not Super Sports. Super Sports been with us for a long time. He'd come to the live stream and has been a commenter for a long time. All right. Well, I don't know. Henry the 8th, can you change the chest plate to... Oh, yeah, I just did that. Hey, Cheryl, how's it going? It's pronounced more. When you type it again, I don't know how to pronounce it any differently. Like, moire, I always think... See, because I took French growing up. So, O-I, I always think as wa. Moire. Moyer? Oh, hey, CT Plays, I didn't see you. Yeah, get to sleep. Don't you have school tomorrow? For those that you don't know, I'm related to CT Blaze. He's my nephew. I love him. Question. Oh, T-Man doing some work. Charlie Sis says, will the tapes fit in his chest? What kind of question is that? Moyer. Oh, okay. Call me Moyer. Okay, my bad. Hey, Evil Ash. Pig for Life locked the doors at 11:59. I don't understand what that means. Moyer. Okay, Moyer. My bad, man. I bet you wouldn't know how to say Pig for Life if you just read it for the first time. I get Pack for Life, Pike for Life. A lot of people ask what Pig for means. That's my last name. I'm not clever. It doesn't mean anything. Just my last name. Question, does it come with extra parts to build it out like a real transformer? What kind of question is this? Ron is coming at 11. He's coming at 11 tomorrow, man. Yep. You want a tune head? All right, well, we've already cycled through all the heads. So I feel like we're kind of just going backwards now. I'm going to put the sad face on just because it's the most depressing looking one. I don't think anybody will use this one. Honestly, I don't know what some of these faces that we get for random figures. I just don't know who uses them. Like this face, like this one, this is so depressing. Who wants this on their figure? Who thinks, oh, you know what? I want to put this on my $230 figure because I want $230 worth of make me sad. Like, who does that? I do not. I just said I do not want to do that. Just call me BB. I'll use Toyota just use that face when you're packing up Teslas. Yeah, I have to pack up. I made 60 boxes before the live stream. Oh, TM's back. All right, now T-Man's back. TM's leaving. All right. TM is back and T-Man's leaving. Well, we're done. I don't think we have any other questions. Trans fan says, I fear that Jensen's wounds are fatal. Nice call out. All right, so I think we're good here, right? Is Tesla 2.0 supposed to be Blaster? FT face sculpts suck? G Tony, being the ex Transbots fan, what is another word for him? Apologist. I love using that word, apologist. So these are probably my 3 favorite faces of all like 9 I talked about. Roberto, another side by side with Jansen. I've literally done this like 4 times, not 5. Make a poll, X Transbots or FT, please. Oh, I actually can do that really quickly. Hold on. I usually don't have the stream open, so let me see. Please excuse me while I am typing Tesla 2.0 or Jansen. All right, the poll is up. We'll hold this open for about a minute to see what people say. X Transbot Sims? That's a little harsh. I really appreciate the 179 of you who joined. There probably were more at some point. Also, the 95 of you who gave me a thumbs up, I appreciate it. Even if you want to put the dislike, they don't even show that anymore. So go ahead and thumbs down as much as you want. I don't mind. But if you do seriously dislike it, let me know what you dislike about it so I can try to improve. I know the biggest thing people complain about is the video quality. And again, I can't really control that when I'm live streaming from my phone. I don't know why YouTube wouldn't at least bump that up to 1080. But I'm thinking about doing a more of a professional live streaming setup with OBS and then doing multiple camera streams. So we'll see. That's going to be a project over the next couple months as I figure it out. It just takes a lot of legwork to do the background setup of the different scenes. And I'm a noob with that stuff. So need a both for that poll? No. Winrave, I don't think you've come to my my chatter days, so that's a new thing that I'm doing, live stream with some guests. In that, we have a segment called This or That, where I put up a poll, and it's literally between 2 choices. No fence sitting, no both. You got to pick one or the other and defend your choice. So if that sounds like something fun for you, join the chatter days. We will always have This or That in there. Thanks, Jermaine. Your 2 Teslas are already packaged up. They'll be heading out tomorrow morning. Michael W says, I dislike that I missed the beginning. You can always scroll, get it on the rewind. It will be posted right after we finish. So, oh, thank you for the increased likes. I see that another 20 of you hit the like button before you hit end. So I appreciate it. I'm having a hard time. Oh, Clinical, if you want to do Chatter Day, hit the Discord link in the description of this video and get added to the server, and then we can go from there. All right, so let me see what the poll says. 78% of you guys say that Tesla 2.0 is going to be your Perceptor of choice. So let's go ahead and end the stream here as well as the poll. I appreciate all of you guys attending. We're going to end it here. I'll be back with some more reviews as well as chatter days coming up. The next chatter day topic is most likely going to be anime, non-Transformer related, but I guess there are some Transformers anime. And then after that, I'll be on vacation for a couple weeks. Maybe I'll do some other reviews before then, but that's really going to be it. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everyone. Hope you have a good one.